Tell us about your work at Emerge Vermont.
So Emerge Vermont, we recruit, train, and inspire Democratic women to run for public office. And we train them on all aspects of campaigning that they're going to need to run an effective campaign for women at all types of campaigns, from local school board up to hopefully someday a woman running for Congress in Vermont. We train them on working with the media, fundraising, stump speeches and public speaking, cultural competency and running a diverse and inclusive campaign, ethical leadership, field operations, working with endorsing organizations and labor. So across the board, anything that one would need to run a really vibrant and successful campaign.
That's fabulous. And it's part of a larger organization, right, called Emerge America?
Yeah, so it's part of Emerge America, and Emerge America is right now working in 22 states and growing all the time. Emerge America started in California and has sort of moved to the East Coast. So we have some East Coast affiliates, Midwest, West Coast, and right now a lot of our new affiliates are in the South. So we are working, trying to cover the entire country, hope to have a presence in all 50 states by 2020. But Emerge Vermont was the 14th state in Emerge. So.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
I understand that you actually are in an elected position yourself on a school board. Tell me a little bit about how that experience of running for a position and serving in it has influenced and kind of informed your own work with other women who are interested in serving in elected office.
Yeah, absolutely. So I serve on the Middlebury Area School Board in Middlebury, Vermont, and have done so since 2010 when I was first elected. And one of the things that I can bring to my work at Emerge is to help the women understand that I know what they're going through, and I've been there, and I'm serving. I know how hard it is to put yourself out there in public, how hard it is to walk into a meeting maybe where you're the only woman or one of the only women, and to really walk into a meeting with confidence and knowing that you have sisters behind you who have your back. So I do talk a lot about my own experiences and how they can inform what is happening with the other women. And even running for school board, even though it's very local and I didn't have to raise a lot of money or run a huge campaign, there are some similarities up and down the ladder between running for school board and running for Congress that are things that we can all relate to. And so I try to be a good role model to the women in my class.
That's great. World Bank data does comparisons of seats held by women in national governments as an overall percentage, and the 2016 number for the United States was 19%. For comparison, Bolivia has 53%, Mexico 42%, and Morocco 21%. Why do you think the United States is lagging so far behind in this area?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's rather embarrassing. I believe we rank 101st, maybe 104th in the world in gender parity among our national parliament or national Congress. There are a lot of reasons why the United States ranks so far behind other countries. A lot of the countries that are higher ranking and have better gender parity, particularly some African countries, South American countries, and Northern European countries, is they have structures and laws in place that require gender parity in elected officials. Sometimes it's that they require their parties to have equal number of candidates who are men and women. Also, parliamentary systems where there's proportional representation tend to be easier for outsider candidates to win seats in the parliament, and often women are outsider candidates because our numbers are so low. So our winner-take-all system, our lack of gender quotas, even in our party structure, makes it harder for women to break into the system. We also have a really partisan system in the United States. Parliamentary systems tend to be less partisan. So a partisan system creates a much more divided electorate and a much more divided people in office, and frankly not all of our parties or both of our parties prioritize gender parity or prioritize diversity among their candidates. And so it makes it much harder for women to make gains across the board, especially as more and more Republicans have become elected to office. Fewer women are elected to office because fewer Republicans are women. So there are a number of structural reasons that we lag behind other countries. Other countries have prioritized it, and other countries have sort of created a jolt to their system that really requires gender parity, and we haven't done that here in the United States.
All the more need for organizations like Emerge Vermont.
Yeah, absolutely. We try to help women overcome those barriers. We can't necessarily change the structures, but we can help them overcome other barriers which are more situational. There's still a gender pay gap in the United States where women are making, I believe, 84 cents on the dollar for what men are making. Women don't have the financial resources that men usually do to run for office. Because women still do the bulk of child rearing and domestic and also elder care duties in the United States, they tend to have less flexibility to do things like run for office. Their jobs aren't as supportive. But in Emerge, we can help them address those situational factors and help them overcome those by creating a network, by creating partners in their ability to run, by helping them have conversations with their employers, by helping them create support for their campaign that overcomes situational barriers. And then hopefully when we have enough women in office, we can help address some of those structural barriers too. Other barriers to women in the United States are incumbency. We have huge incumbency rates in the United States, and it's harder for new people to be elected when incumbents are continually winning and running. We also have very partisan gerrymandered districts, which make it harder for new candidates to come in, often women candidates to come in. So we're trying to help address those. But one of the things that Emerge does the most well is that we help women overcome the barriers that we often have in ourselves, believing that we are not qualified, that we are not effective enough, that we are not prepared enough to run for office. Men often see themselves as candidates or see themselves as an elected official, and women, we don't often see ourselves that way. So being able to help women overcome the sort of confidence issues. A lot of studies have shown that men just have a lot more political ambition than women. So showing women that political ambition is good and supported and important and necessary in our democracy, and that they can step up and run for office even though there are barriers, but Emerge and other programs like Emerge help them overcome those barriers, help them create what we call the Emerge sisterhood, that sort of I've got your back, girl, you can do this. And so those are the things that make it really important for women to do the Emerge program, to help them prepare to run for office at any level.
Oh, that's great. You are a product of liberal arts education, and we're here at Oberlin College. I'd be interested in hearing some of your thoughts about how a liberal arts education can prepare students for service, and especially in elected office.
That's a great question. One of the things that we really help women to understand is that there are no particular special qualifications to run for office, that one of the main things that you need is the ability to learn, the ability to take risks, and the ability to work well with other people. And I think all of those things are things that we learn at our liberal arts college. My education at Oberlin was incredibly important to my desire and ability to step up and run for school board. And I think that having more OBs in elected office is incredibly important. So I really hope that Oberlin women out there think about, especially in the world that we live in right now, what they can bring to the table. And it doesn't have to be special skills, but it can be their ability to learn and write and communicate and work well with others and be passionate about an issue and passionate about their community. And absolutely, those are things that are embedded in a liberal arts education. And Oberlin is incredibly unique in the sort of world perspective and our desire as OBs to create social change and to step up and lead and to really question, why is this done this way? How can we do it better? And that's what we need, people like that in elected office. So I would love to see more Oberlin women do it.
Well, we definitely have some OBs who have been in elected office and are currently in those roles. I think it's very important. And like you, I'd be very inspired to see more. So if some Oberlin alums are interested in learning more, where would you direct them? Is there a site on the website that you would direct them to, or what would be that first step for them?
Right. So, like I said, Emerge works in 22 states and hopefully more soon. EmergeAmerica.org is where you can find information about Emerge and if there's one in your state. And certainly people can contact me at Emerge Vermont. You can find my contact on the web too. And I can connect women, OBs, to other women in their communities in their state who are doing this kind of work. So yeah, it would be great to have more Oberlin women stepping up, and men too, but particularly women, so we can get more women in office and improve our numbers and also improve our democracy. The more diversity we have, the more voices we have at the table, the stronger our democracy is. There's a lot of research that shows that diverse groups of people make better decisions and they have better outcomes. And women and people of color and lesbian and gay people all have voices that we need at the table, new Americans, and people who are not represented in our democracy right now. We'll make it stronger and make it more malleable and more representative and responsive to people.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your important work and what you're doing to inspire others. And I'm so glad you can share this message with our alumni and with our current students. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been really fun to be here.